Hello and welcome to another edition of the Father and Son Formula One podcast with me, Graham Miller, the father in the title, and my son, Toby. Say hello, Toby.
Hello, Toby.
And this edition is all about the Miami, I was going to say the Miami Grand Prix, but the Miami Grand Prix weekend, because we had a sprint as well to talk about.
Yeah.
And a lot happened.
Yeah, it was quite an exciting actual race, and there wasn't too much gossip in the background, really. So we can actually talk about the, sporting side of things for once.
There was one in the background, well, not in the background, but it kind of came to fruition that Adrian Newey, surprisingly, is officially leaving Red Bull.
Yeah, which is like, everybody knew already, just Red Bull confirming that that's true.
The difference is, whenever the cameraman had no on-track action, he did us a close-up of Adrian Newey frowning at a laptop screen.
Yeah, and then he panned straight over to the Ferrari garage as if to say, oh, look, I wonder if...
Yeah, I think it... While we're on the subject of Adrian Newey, I can't remember where I read it, but somebody made a really valid point.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Newey got his mate, Eddie Jordan, involved.
Yeah.
They got lawyers involved. They spent a couple of weeks negotiating really hard to make sure he had an exit from his non-competitiveness clause.
Yes.
Because according to the terms of his contract, he shouldn't have gone back to F1 till either 27 or 28.
27, I think.
But that would mean he would have lost the chance to develop the new 2026 regs.
Yeah.
So that's one reality. And then he gets interviewed on TV before the race, I think it was. It might have been before the sprint.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what are your future plans? And he was like, oh, I'm going to have a holiday. I'll get in the motorhome with the wife and I'll drive around France and maybe I'll head out in a yacht and I've got no real plans. And it's like, are you going to come back to F1? And he's like, I haven't really decided yet. And it's like, if you haven't decided...
Why did you want to get rid of that non-competitive clause? If anything...
Well, not just wanted to get rid of it, actually spent money and effort and time to get rid of it.
If anything, if he did want a holiday, the non-competitive clause would be the best thing he could have. Because he'd be like, oh, sorry, Ferrari, I'd love to work for you, but our contracts, I just have to go, driving around the south of France with the wife.
Yeah, or I'll design a yacht or a road car or...
Yeah, I think he's been connected with the Red Bull hypercar program, I thought.
I think the first thing I heard was that part of the disagreement was they wanted to put him onto RB17, which is the hypercar. And he wanted to do the Formula One side.
Yeah.
But then, apparently, Christian Horner, and this might just be him being petty, his response is to put him onto the hypercar project to keep him away from the Formula One side.
Yeah.
So he doesn't learn, which again is kind of implying that everybody knows he's going back to F1.
Yeah. So he's now on the hypercar now, is he?
Yeah, I think that's a reaction to him leaving.
To try and say, well, you have to work for us, but we're not going to show you our secrets.
Well, you wouldn't really, would you?
No. Not that, Newey kind of comes up with the secrets, you'd have thought.
Yeah. My personal feeling is Newey's waiting to see what the engines look like. Because this is the first set of reg changes where it's engine and chassis at once.
Yeah.
And he's been quite open about saying, I love regulation changes. I love seeing what you can do with them. It gives you a whole chance. And he actually, in interviews, he sounds quite excited by the fact that he's got an engine and chassis reg change, which is very, very rare.
Yeah.
So my guess is he's probably mooching around Mercedes, Alpine, and Ferrari, who I think are the other three engine makers on the grid.
Yeah, because Red Bull do Honda.
Well, they've kind of got that weird Honda Red Bull powertrain.
Yeah, but the only other team is Toro Rosso, and he's obviously not going to go there.
No.
So it is, Mercedes.
Who do Aston Martin and McLaren.
Yeah, and Williams.
And Williams, yeah.
You never know, he could go to Williams.
Yeah?
And then it's Alpine is just only supply themselves now, I think, Renault engines.
Yep.
And then Ferrari do themselves, and Haas and Alfa Sauber, Audi, whatever the hell they are.
Oh, yeah.
The one with Bottas in it.
The green car.
Yeah, them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ferrari as well.
But, I mean, the funny thing is, his last salary at Red Bull was 18 million a year.
Good God.
So, he's actually openly said he's 65. He doesn't need to work he's not like a rap star who wants a house in the Hamptons, and
I mean, he could get one though if he wanted to.
Yeah, but the thing is, he can go to Williams.
Yeah.
He can, and actually that's not as unlikely because A, it's a historic thing, and B, look what he did at Red Bull. He took what was basically Jaguar, rebranded, a mid-level team, and made them unbeatable.
I mean, I think, Williams have good driver in Albon at least, connections with Mercedes, who are a big producer of engines, and they've got James Vowles, who's quite a good leader. I think.
I heard the best thing about James Vowles.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Albon has very honest discussions with him, along the lines of Albon's contracted to be a Williams driver till 2025.
Yeah.
But Vowles actually says to Albon, "You're a top flight driver.
Yeah.
If you were in a top flight team, you could be winning races." And he actually says, "Do you want to stay here and help us, or can we negotiate you a deal to go to somewhere where your talent will shine?" Which I think from a leader is just quite good.
If anything, it also makes Albon more willing to stay because it's like he has so much faith in me that he thinks I'm better than this team.
Yeah, basically. Which actually, given how he's driven the wheels off that Williams and got it into Q3 and things,
I think
fairly fair assessment.
I think was it the normal qualifying or the sprint? The sprint qualifying was the first time Sargent had ever out-qualified Albon.
Yeah.
But that's because Albon got a lap time deleted.
Yeah. So actually he still was faster.
Sargent was 19th.
Yes.
So, it's kind of he has whitewashed Sargent entirely.
And over several seasons.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I mean, again, the gossip is always that Sargent might not last out the season.
Yeah, so there's a few things. Apparently, Mercedes applied to the FIA for a special dispensation for Antonelli to let him race in F1 without the super license points necessary.
Oh no, apparently he has the points.
Right.
But he's not 18.
Oh, is he not still?
No, it's August.
So they want him in now?
It's called a derogation of the rules. Yeah. No, he's got the super license points because he's been in F2 and F3 and doing really well in there for quite a while.
Yes.
But I'm sure it's August.
But I also saw a Formula 4 commentator was talking about other Italian F4 drivers. And he said, Andrea Antonelli, the soon-to-be-announced... And then he said, I won't finish that sentence, and then carried on.
Oh.
So, and I think people are saying he said the soon-to-be-announced and then stopped, like a W.
Yeah.
So, it seems like he could be a mid-season replacement for Sargent.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't replace Albon, would you?
Well, no.
So, yeah, there was some... Anyway, we had a sprint race again, second...
Yeah, second in a row as well.
Yeah. Hamilton... Didn't Hamilton and Rosberg... I'm showing my age
Rosberg,
now.
My goodness.
Hamilton and Russell have a really bad qualifying for it.
Yeah, they were just 11th and 12th on pure pace.
Yeah.
They got qualified by Hulkenberg.
But then somehow Hamilton managed to get so far up that he caused the concertina effect between two Aston Martins. Yeah. But then pushed Lando Norris out altogether.
I think he got that far up because he steamed into the first corner too fast, is the thing.
Yeah.
He just, everybody else was braking and he was still going. But I did see the onboard for that. And actually, if you look at it, Stroll and Alonso are already crashing by the time Hamilton comes in. Basically, Stroll's on the outside, I think. Alonso's on the inside, and Stroll's come into him and is touching wheels. And then Alonso tries to go right, and then Hamilton arrives, and they crash. So I think if Hamilton had got on the brakes, it would have been an Alonso-Stroll crash, and it would have been a very different... Maybe Norris wouldn't have got knocked out because he wouldn't have been pushed to the left and while he was going around the outside. But I think it was less of Hamilton's fault than it seemed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know he certainly didn't pick up any penalties or anything over it, did he?
No doubt Alonso has opinions on why that is.
Although actually, for once, I agree with Alonso. I know he gets very salty about everything.
About Hamilton, basically.
And the stewards.
Yeah.
But he said, it's like the fact that we don't race in the rain anymore. He said what they really want is to take what used to be a sporting event and turn it into the Miami Grand Prix happening where you can sell a lot of tacos.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think he's being very...
He's got a point about that, yeah, like the commercialization of it.
Yeah, and obviously he's being quite controversial about it as well and quite kind of angry, but...
Yeah. But they are testing spray guards on the wheels.
Yeah, I saw that, basically mud guards.
Yeah, right over the wheels for wet weather. They got Ferrari to give an old car to do some testing, I think, with Schwartzman and Behrman.
Yeah, I think Mercedes and McLaren have been joined in.
Which hopefully will lead to better wet weather racing. If the spray is reduced, then that's one of the safety factors if the drivers can see where they're going behind.
Yeah.
Then in terms of car control, they should be able to keep it on the road. I mean, they're, professionals.
I'm just actually looking back. I've just remembered that, I mean, I know clickbaity articles hype it up, but I've remembered the end of the sprint qualifying where they said to Verstappen that you're on pole. Mm-hmm. And he was like, how did that happen? Like, where was everybody else?
I think he actually said, lol, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Because he had a terrible lap, but literally everybody else did.
Yeah.
Was that sprint quali?
Yeah, it was sprint quali, I'm sure it was. Yeah, this is it. I was actually looking back over the WhatsApp chats me and Toby were having during the race. And it was a terrible race because Mercedes were in a kind of little cluster with Haas, V-Carb and Sauber.
Yeah.
Like both Lewis and George were in that kind of, not even midfield anymore. They used to be. I'm sure they were nipping at McLaren's heels a few races ago. Maybe not up to actually tangling with the Ferrari Red Bull battle, but...
Yeah, they used to be... It used to be like the top 5, right? Like they were like McLaren's and Aston Martin level. And then Red Bull and Ferrari were fighting for the top spots. But now, Mercedes are like not guaranteed to get into Q3 now.
Yeah.
And then somehow Hamilton was second in the China sprint.
Not in the sprint he wasn't, I don't think.
In the sprint in China.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was just... I mean, that actually sums up exactly what the problem is with that McLaren.
Mercedes.
Mercedes. That's exactly what the problem is, though. It's not that it's not a fast car. It's that it's sometimes a fast car.
Yeah, sometimes it's the second fastest car on the grid. Sometimes it's 11th and 12th.
Yeah, and I think until they can understand why, and I said this last time, a commentator said they've had over 50 races now.
Yeah.
They really should be like making incremental gains, not still saying, well, we don't understand the aero.
I mean, there's a graphic. Last season, McLaren scored like 17 points in the first 6 races or something, because their car was really not there.
Yeah.
And now they've come back to winning races. And in that same period, like if you look at like Piastri's first 6 races were like DNF 15th, 8th, 11th, 19th and a 10th. And then one season on, their podiums pretty commonly. Piastri was actually running second for a while. Norris has obviously won now. And in that same time gap, Mercedes have gone from being kind of, I think they were second in the constructors actually, to now they are currently 4th in the constructors and not far ahead of Aston Martin.
Yeah.
And in terms of pace now, they're kind of like the 5th, 6th fastest team on the grid. So they're kind of going backwards, actually.
Yeah, and they're certainly... is it Andre Seidel? Who's the boss of McLaren?
I think it's somebody Stella now, Andreas Stella.
Andreas Stella.
It used to be Andreas Seidel, and then they got a different AS in.
McLaren Formula One team. Team principals. Zach Brown is the CEO. Oh no, it's Andreas Stella, yeah.
Yeah, December 2022, he became the team principal.
So
he's got them from like the back to the front in like 2 years,
and that is actually an incredible job.
They were already on the up. I think you could probably say Zach Brown's team culture has probably actually turned them around from where they were in 2015, like with Alonso and Button, and they were actually like a backmarker team, to now being, fighting for P2 in the championship.
Yeah.
I mean, when did Zach Brown turn up? I wonder. 2016. In 2016, Zach Brown became the executive director of the McLaren Technology Group, and then in 2018, he was the CEO, and he did a restructure.
And that is, I mean, in some ways, I think that's probably the best. Sterlo and Brown is probably the best kind of management setup anywhere on the grid.
Well, I think maybe wait to see what Vasseur can do. Because if Vasseur can get Newey on board and Hamilton, then that's like a historic combination.
Yeah, how long has Vasseur been there?
Only this year and last year, I think.
So he's got, 2022 to present. And it was the very end of 22, so he's only in his second season.
Did you see he was celebrating with McLaren as well?
Oh, bless.
Like, he walked over with a bottle of champagne and they threw him a cap and he put it on back, like an orange McLaren cap, and he put it on backwards and sprayed Norris with the champagne.
Oh.
I think he's quite popular.
Oh, Norris is. Anyway, I think we're kind of jumping ahead.
Yeah, we're going all over the place.
So the sprint. I mean, I think the whole race weekend was weird because the track was dusty. It was a street track.
It was just low grip in general, apparently.
It's not a well-established street track like Monaco, where you've got mountains of data for it.
Yeah.
It was all just a bit weird. But the actual race itself...
So the sprint, right, Ricciardo ended up in 4th.
Yeah, it was really quite a weird...
And he was holding off Sainz quite effectively. And then
actually, Ferrari weren't very impressive all weekend, really.
I mean, Leclerc was second in the sprint. I don't think Sainz had a very good weekend, because his weekend was mostly getting stuck behind people who shouldn't have been where they were.
Yeah.
And then Alpine had a good weekend, actually, because Gasly was 9th in the sprint, and then Ocon got that first point all season in the race. So I think they've made a step forwards as well.
Yeah, there's very few 0-point teams now, aren't there?
I think it's just Williams and Sauber. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a proper mixed up, like, top 8 in the sprint. Yuki Tsunoda, Hulkenberg.
Yeah, because
Ricciardo.
Who was missing? It was a Mercedes, wasn't it?
Yeah, both Mercedes were...
Right, Hamilton kept getting into trouble with Magnussen. And I realised what it was. So, Hulkenberg was in 7th. He was getting points for the team. Magnussen, I think, was in 8th. They were fighting over the last point, weren't they?
Yeah.
And Magnussen did what he did in Saudi, which is he sacrificed his race to keep Hamilton behind.
Yeah.
But he went the extra step of actually taking penalties. Because to him, it's like, if I get overtaken by Hamilton, I lose the points anyway. So I might as well get a 10, 20, 30-second penalty.
Yeah.
And make sure that Nico keeps the points. But then suddenly get into the situation where Magnussen is driving dangerously because he doesn't care about the penalties.
Didn't he actually have a black and white flag for unsportsmanlike behaviour?
Yeah, he picked up... I don't actually remember how many penalties it was total. I think it was something like 5 or 6 for the whole weekend. In the sprint, Magnussen was... He went back to last. He was 7 seconds behind Alonso. Because he got... Oh, here we go. He got a three 10-second penalties and a 5-second penalty.
Yeah, that's at 35.
3 for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, and a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. But the issue is that they could have penalised him to the, Chinese Grand Prix and back.
Yeah.
But he still would have kept driving like that. So I think they have to take a bit of a stronger stance on team games like that, in a way.
Yeah.
And obviously he then crashed into Sargent the next day. So if I was a steward and I was looking at how Magnussen was driving all weekend, I probably would have banned him for the next race.
Apparently the steward said it wasn't clear that his actions had been intentionally unsporting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he got 4 time penalties and 3 penalty points.
But which is the same number of penalty points Alonso got for brake checking Russell.
Yeah.
At which point, I'm kind of thinking that penalty on Alonso was a bit harsh, maybe? Or that they're being way too lenient on Magnussen here, because he was like...
Yeah, I mean, one of the team bosses said it should be like exponential, really. Because you get 1 penalty, then you know you've done something wrong.
Yeah,
then
you made a mistake,
2.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, you get 2 and it's kind of like, okay, what is wrong with you? And you get 3 and you're like, okay, you're not listening at this point.
I think it should be 3 strikes and you're out. Like, if you get 3 penalties for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, you could almost make a case for, like, disqualification, because he's not driving on the track anymore.
And also, it was a 19-lap race.
Yeah, how do you pick up 4 penalties in 19 laps? It's quite impressive, actually.
I mean, literally, by the definition of the sprint, it was a third of race distance. It's like...
He should have picked up 12 in the race, then, if he was at that same rate. But I think I also think the reason he's doing it on a higher level is because he's scared that he might lose his seat at Haas, maybe.
So he's trying to be more aggressive.
Yeah, I think they've maybe not directly given him an ultimatum, but I think he's seeing the way the wind is blowing and he's saying, I need to prove my value to the team and be a team player.
It's the most open season for years.
Yeah. I mean, last year was so static in terms of driver changes.
Yeah.
This next year is going to be chaos.
Yeah, it already is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can feel the clock ticking. The race.
Yeah, the actual weekend.
I've got to ask you this. How early was it you thought, oh my God, this could be Lando's first win?
I think when the safety car came in. When the safety car came out.
Yeah. Because I did that. As soon as the safety car came out, I was thinking, Lando hasn't pitted yet. And then I was like, oh, wow, that could be.
It's his best chance he's had since Sochi 2021.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was 20 metres was the difference.
What? That he was able to get in?
No, what happened is, Lando went past the pit lane exit.
Yes.
And when he was 20 metres past the exit, that's when the safety car left the pits.
Yeah. That gave him... Yeah.
So the safety car got into the gap between him and Max. It wasn't that they always expected Max to be leading.
No.
The safety car happened to come out into the gap between him and Max. It then slowed Max Verstappen down.
Gave Lando a 30-second gap.
Yeah, by the time he came into the pits, it didn't matter. Because everybody else in the race was held up waiting for him to do his pit stop, basically.
And then they had to overtake the safety car to get back round to the back of him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he'd have been a lap up on everyone.
Yeah, it was really... I mean, I can understand a lot of things. When I try and work out stuff like that, my brain just goes, not working.
Yeah, I can kind of see it in my head. If I can visualize like the track map and like there's Verstappen, there's Alonso, there's like Norris, safety car, Verstappen, and they're all bunching up and he's going around at full speed.
I can kind of understand it if I imagine a big circle and like beads on it all going round. But
that's basically what I'm doing, yeah.
It kind of also melts my brain at the same time.
But the strategists, they must have been like over the moon when it happened, because they were like, where's the safety car? Oh, there's Verstappen. Oh, pit, now.
Yeah, well, it was due a pit stop anyway.
I mean, honestly, if Piastri had crashed into Sargent, there would be Crashgate 2 questions, let's be honest. That's how perfect the timing was.
Yeah.
It was, like, it was perfect as Alonso in Crashgate.
Yeah, it was just where it needed to be. But, you see, and then you see Max was saying, oh, I had floor damage. That's why I ended up 7.5 seconds back.
Yes.
But I kind of was tracking it back. And the reason Max had floor damage is because he wiped out that
the current
bollard.
Yeah.
And why did he wipe out that bollard?
Because he was pushing.
And why was he pushing?
because Norris was coming.
No, Piastri was coming.
Yeah, Piastri, yes. Piastri was running second.
But he couldn't break that. Piastri was 3 seconds back pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the first times you've actually seen Max have to push. And given it was low grip, dusty track,
he made a mistake.
Because in my mind, 3 seconds, that's not enough. If you have a bad pit stop,
if you lock up, then Piastri's got DRS basically.
Yeah, but I mean, if your pit stop goes wrong slightly, if you come out of your pit stop behind 3 back markers who are fighting, if the undercut is more powerful than you're expecting, or the overcut, 3 seconds can vanish.
Within the margin of error.
Yeah.
And then, but the thing is as well, Piastri's car only had half the upgrade package on it.
Yeah.
Norris's had the full upgrades. So if Norris, if Norris came out behind Verstappen, I think he still wins. And I think if Verstappen doesn't have damage and Norris comes out in front, I still think he wins as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like, oh, Verstappen's car was damaged, there's no hope. I do think the McLaren is now that fast.
Yeah. Although I have to say, being old and having experience, next week is on a proper fast Italian racetrack.
Yeah.
I fully expect Red Bull utter dominance. Back to normal.
Imola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fully expect that to happen.
Probably. But, I mean, yeah. I do feel bad for Piastri as well.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, he did what Magnussen did, just more ethically. He kind of sacrificed his race.
Well, no, he was running second behind Verstappen, 3 seconds behind. He pitted before the safety car, so we got a little bit unlucky with that.
Yeah.
And then he got crashed into by Sainz.
Yeah.
And because Sainz couldn't get past him. And Piastri went from being like second place. He could have been in the running for the victory, again, if Verstappen made a mistake or locked up. And then he ended up 13th. And it's like, it doesn't actually reflect the race he had at all.
No. Yeah, 13th, I've got it up here. And I've seen, like, especially Australian newspapers are really annoyed because they were seeing, like, a Piastri-Ricciardo fight. And then radio team message came through saying, remember, we don't want the safety car, just take it easy. Which, I mean, he was still 3 places off the points. They've got a point. You know, there's no point in risking it.
But I think, Piastri, he kind of came out of nowhere because he was suddenly, first of all, Perez had a pretty rubbish race, all things considered.
Yeah.
Because he almost crashed into Verstappen on the start.
Oh, have you seen the slow-mos of that?
Yeah. I've seen Verstappen's reaction to it. He turns around and his eyes are like wide. He's like, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah.
But then he also couldn't get past, well, he got passed by Piastri on the start. Piastri ended up in third. Piastri just overtook Leclerc on pace, which is quite kind of a thing to do to a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And then he just stuck in second, and everyone was like, hang on a second, we weren't expecting this from the McLarens.
And the Red Bull wasn't pulling away from him either.
Yeah. I mean, it was always in the same shot, which must have been a bit weird for Verstappen to actually need to put his foot down for once.
And like you say, he was definitely level pegging with the Ferraris because he actually got into a crash with Sainz because basically Sainz wasn't fast enough to kind of keep him behind legitimately, in essence.
A Ferrari were definitely the second fastest car today. Or third fastest, I mean.
Yeah.
See, in my head, Red Bull doesn't exist. They're just like...
They're off the...
Racing Formula 0.5.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, maybe not anymore if like McLaren can get these upgrades working.
Yeah. And I think they've definitely shown weakness.
Yeah.
Since, like, you know, in all of 2023, there was only one race that Red Bull didn't win. And now we've had 2 in the first 6.
Yeah,
it's a lot more encouraging.
One mechanical and one on pace, so...
And the one on pace was closer because it was actually a fight. Like in Singapore last year, the Red Bull just didn't work.
Yeah.
But I think it's also maybe a thing because they're kind of... it seems like the management side of Red Bull is also just crumbling. Like, they've already lost Newey.
Yeah.
Which is...
Zach Brown is just stirring the pot and saying, oh, there's going to be more to go.
Yeah, because Zach Brown's doing what Horner isn't, and just kind of managing everything properly.
And he's also doing what Horner did for the last couple of years, certainly 21 and 22. He's just stirring the pot and putting psychological pressure on. And
yeah.
I'm having a quick look. We've got Monaco coming up at the end of this month. You see, I would say in a not very often used street circuit that's a bit slow, that could really not go Red Bull's way.
Especially if you get good qualifying and or get ahead on the pit stops. It's so hard to overtake there.
Same for the Canadian.
Canadian's quite fast.
It's still a street circuit.
Yeah, but it's like very high speed. There's big long back straight, for example. Canada's quite well balanced, I think, actually.
Yeah, there's quite a lot to look forward to, I think. I really do think at Imola it's a proper racetrack. I think Red Bull will be properly fired up and they'll have had a shot across their bowels. And I think they'll just come out all guns blazing, 1-2, fastest lap, just nail it down.
Or is Perez going to struggle because of the pressure now? Because he's been pretty good this season, but that was not a very good race from him.
I never wish anybody would crash, obviously.
No.
But it's a real what might have been moment if, like, Perez slid probably an inch, 20 centimetres, 2 centimetres.
Got on the brakes a bit later.
And if he just collected the back end of Verstappen.
Probably McLaren 1-2. I would have thought. Maybe Norris from Piastri.
Yeah.
Leclerc third. I think that's what I would say if that happened.
Yeah, it would have been like... actually, even if like Verstappen got a puncture and Perez got a new nose cone, it would still put them really a long way down the order, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the next couple races, Monaco's really the only one that's a bit abnormal.
Yeah.
Canada, Spain, Austria, Britain, Hungary, Belgium, that's all normal racetracks. Belgium especially, Verstappen's really good at. That's like one of his best circuits, even within the like Red Bull a dominant world. He's like started 14th and won by like a minute there. Yeah,
I'm having a look to see. RB actually had a really good weekend, or Carb, or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Toro Rosso,
because they are now on 19 points, and I think most of that came today, last weekend.
Yeah. So I'm looking down the teams. Mercedes actually, compared to where they have been, 6th and 8th, is a decent haul of points for them.
Hamilton qualified way below 6th, actually, didn't he? Like, I think he had quite a quiet race. Hamilton qualified 8th, to be fair.
But he overtook his teammate who qualified 7th.
And then he ended up... I remember him actually catching up to Sainz by the end. Yeah,
he was like fractions off Sainz.
Let me see. Is this race result? Oh, is that the cumulative time? Because it says Sainz was 16.4.
Yeah.
It says Hamilton was 16.5 off Verstappen, off Norris. He was only half a second. Was that even a tenth of a second?
0.1 of a second is a tenth.
Was he really a tenth behind Sainz?
Probably by the last lap he was like pushing and Sainz was like, just make it to the line.
I mean, that's like suddenly, the last like 3 or 4 laps, Hamilton actually, re-entered where Mercedes used to be, which is fighting with the top lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think he is actually, despite the fact that he could have just signed off and gone to Ferrari, I think he's, ever since that China sprint, he's got a bit more hunger in him now.
Well, that's his personality. Looking down the teams, Aston Martin had their usual split. Points for Fernando, disappointing for Lance.
Aston were not very good either, because Alonso was only 9th. He was last in the sprint, basically. Yeah. Aston Martin just had no pace. It's weird.
Alpine, like you say, first ever point.
Actually, I saw afterwards, everybody was congratulating Norris, but Lewis was the only one who came over to Ocon while he was in the car and gave him a thumbs up because he knew he got their first point.
Yeah, he's really switched on, isn't he?
But also, both like Ocon's one of the few drivers who didn't come from a very rich family. Like his family sold their house and lived in a caravan for a few years to support his karting career. So Hamilton, I think, sees that and goes, "You're like me."
I think Leclerc was similar as well, wasn't he?
No, Leclerc lived in Monaco.
Yeah, but he's always said he wasn't like one of the multi-millionaires in Monaco.
Well, I think his dad owned a karting track.
Oh, fair enough.
And he knew the Bianchi family quite well. They were very close. So I think when he says he wasn't a multi-millionaire, he's thinking in Monaco terms. Like he's probably, way richer still than like Hamilton's family was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that kind of went under the radar a bit, Ocon's point.
Well, I mean, everybody loves Norris. I actually saw an article written from 2018 saying there's something really special about Lando Norris. And like, apparently even when he does like press things and meet and greets, and he had a job, I think, training people on simulators or something, apparently he's always all in.
Yeah.
Like, he'll do a meet and greet, and the fan will walk away thinking, "Oh, that's my best friend."
Yeah. Every driver came over to congratulate him, basically.
Yeah.
Like Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, even like Ricciardo, who was his teammate for a year, Hamilton.
Yeah. I think I even saw Verstappen slowing down on the cool-down lap and giving him a thumbs up.
I saw Verstappen do that. I saw Sainz do that as well. Probably Leclerc did as well. Yeah. He is very popular.
Yeah.
And he's been
his father,
kind of...
his father was an F3 racer, Charles Leclerc.
Oh, yeah.
Hervé.
Leclerc, yeah. So, he's kind of a bit like...
Hervé, it's got an accent.
Oh, okay. He's kind of a bit like Verstappen in that way, just a bit less intense, because he, just like a racing family, basically.
Yeah. Just quickly running down the rest of the teams. Haas obviously had pretty much a weekend to forget, where they very nearly lost Magnussen to gain all of 2 points for Hulkenberg.
Yeah, I think the pace of that Haas has improved to what it was, because Hulkenberg was 11th. Seems like he's a lot faster than Magnussen at this point, which is interesting. I think Magnussen might be worried about the end of his career now.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of such a weird weekend for him. He just came across as a loose cannon and a bit dangerous.
Yeah, like, I mean, if I was going wheel to wheel with him in the next race, I'd be a bit scared almost.
Well, yeah.
But then the question is, who are Haas planning to replace him with?
Behrman.
But they could be replacing Hulkenberg with Behrman. If they're going for an all-new lineup, who's the other guy?
Oh, I was right, by the way. Apparently, Sauber, soon to be Audi, are looking at Sainz quite heavily.
Yeah, that's been kind of telegraphed, but you did say that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Sainz would go for it. It seems like Sainz is not very keen on Audi at this point.
Well, no, it's a bit of a step back at the moment. I mean...
But where else could he go?
Well, exactly. Toto Wolff is sitting on his hands until he sorts out. He would love Max Verstappen. He wants Antonelli.
But Antonelli might be too young for a Mercedes seat. He could try and get Albon up from Williams, and then get Antonelli into the Williams along with someone else in that sort of family. I'm not sure who else they would have, though.
I think what makes a lot of sense would be if nothing else shakes out at Mercedes. Put Sainz in Lewis's Mercedes for 1 year.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years. Wait and see how fast the Audi is when it's got rebadged.
Yeah. And then Mercedes give Antonelli a year at Williams, see how fast he is.
Yeah, give Antonelli a chance to see where he's at, or give Sainz a chance to see where the green cars are at.
And if they both agree that like their intention is not ready yet, they can do another year.
Yeah.
But then they might be like, well, Sainz isn't ready for Audi because they're not fast enough, but Antonelli is like ready for Mercedes.
Yeah.
Because I think Russell spent three seasons in a Williams, and afterwards he was like, that was too much. Like, I was ready for Mercedes a year ago.
Yeah. It's all very complicated.
Yeah.
How are we doing for time? Because I've got a feeling we're kind of...
We just hit 40 minutes.
Oh, that was perfect then,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I think
we've got Imola to come, haven't we?
Yes.
My prediction for Imola is back to business as usual for Red Bull, but again, I think we're all now waiting to see where Newey goes, what the next implosion at Red Bull is.
Yes, and still waiting for, like, where's Sainz going to go? Is Antonelli going to replace Sargent?
Yeah, is Magnussen going to pick up a whole race ban?
Because he's very close now. It's actually kind of feasible. Although I think Gasly...
I think his first one's come off in March 25.
Yeah, it's not like he's got 10 but they're wearing off soon. He's actually picked up a lot in a small amount of time.
Yeah.
But I think also Gasly picked up 12 recently. But because they were all small things over a long period, they didn't ban him. They just said, look, keep your nose clean.
Oh, they can do that on the road, apparently. If you do a lot of speeding and stuff, and you get 12 points on your licence, you can actually go to court, and the judge in court can say, keep 12 points, and then you just drive around unbelievably nervously, like if your job is like sales manager or something, and you lose your job without your licence.
Yeah.
There have been people who've gone to the judge and gone, I've got a wife, I've got kids, I've got a mortgage, I need my licence.
But then if you keep speeding, surely it's like the hammer comes down.
Well, in that case, then you just drive around at 29 miles an hour and a 30.
29 miles an hour and a 50 at that point.
Yeah, you just always...
I don't know if that's what
Magnussen...
Is Magnussen going to do that, though?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah. But yeah, when's Imola? It's the week after next, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
17th.
And then you got Monaco a week after it.
I've got an exam on the 17th.
Was that a Friday?
Yeah.
Damn.
Space science exam. Yeah.
Sorry, if you hear anything weird on the podcast, one of my other two sons just dropped a packet of pasta out of the cupboard.
I didn't hear that, actually.
What's that?
I didn't hear it, actually.
Oh, he just put pasta falling out of cupboard ASMR in the background.
Oh, well, I couldn't hear it, so if there is anything, I'll try and get rid of it, but...
Okay then, I think it's time we said goodbye, because it's getting a bit chaotic here.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, whatever platform you're on.
Mm-hmm.
Go and buy my books. I'm Graham H. Miller, a mystery writer.
Yep.
Go and watch Toby, who's official Tibby.
Yeah, where this channel is. If you're watching on YouTube, it's the same channel.
Oh, fair enough. You already know if you're watching.
Subscribe to that channel then, yeah.
If you're listening on YouTube, if not, look up official Tibby. And thank you for listening and goodbye.
Yep, bye.